production of Pioneer Utility Resources. Story Connect, helping communicators discover ideas to shape their stories and connect with their customers.
Cram the Van. How can a community fundraiser become a storytelling powerhouse? That's what we'll be talking about on this episode of the Story Connect podcast. Hi, I'm your host, Megan McCoy-No, one of the storytellers at Pioneer Utility Resources, and I am joined by Alli, the Director of Member Services and Corporate Communications at Wheatland Electric Cooperative. Alli, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, this is exciting. Now, your co-op, you deliver energy for life to more than 20,000 homes and businesses in 14 counties across Kansas and parts of Colorado, too. It's quite a service area to cover.
Yes.
Right. And then 10 years ago, you launched a community food fundraiser like no other. Tell us a little bit about your Cram the Van event.
Absolutely. So a little over a decade ago, we set out to find a new way to expand our involvement in the 7th cooperative principle. So from that,
that's my favorite.
Yep. From that, Cram the Van was born and created. We set out to find the largest fleet vehicle that we had at that time, which was a red van. So that's what we've used for a number of years. We put some flashy graphics, Cram the Van on it, and we have driven that van tens of thousands of miles over the last decade across our service territory, and essentially doing what, Cram the Van. We literally crammed the van. So
with food.
With food, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And your story too. Now I should ask. You said it's a red van. What are your brand colors?
Red, black, and white. So
nice. So you talked about graphics. You have a wrap for the van.
Yep.
I assume.
Yep.
What does it look like?
It's a van, like the doors are open at the back with canned items kind of spilling out, and then Cram the Van is a big just graphic in the middle of it. So it just looks like you're cramming a van. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So those are the graphics that are on the side of the van.
Yep.
As it drives through your communities. So I've heard of folks filling bins, filling buckets because we have bucket trucks during canned food drives. But I've got to say, your van, especially a branded van for this event, it's driving the effort to a whole new level. Where did this idea come from? I mean, was it a staff suggestion? Was there already a food fundraiser that y'all knew about and just decided to take to a new level?
No, honestly, I mean, I think that I obviously was not, I started in 2015, so I was not here for that inaugural year of Cram the Van. But from what I've heard at a staff meeting, everybody's just sitting around the table and trying to come up with some, something that we could do to really enhance that concern for community. And the food drive concept was born, and I think it just kind of unfolded from there. We knew that we had a red fleet van that we were no longer using. We took out the back seats, so it was just, a blank space. It can hold a lot. I can tell you that. It can hold a lot. Thousands of pounds of food in the back of that van. So, yeah, it just kind of unfolded from there, and through the years, we've just grown and we've progressed. So.
Well, I'm curious, how many different food pantries do y'all support? Because this isn't just you serve such a large area, right?
We have
There's
a really
not
large
just one
spread out service territory. So we support a dozen local food banks across our service territory.
And you split all the food up evenly?
It's actually divided. So whatever's collected. So for example, here in Scott City, whatever's collected in Scott City is donated to our local food bank. So not every food bank gets the same allocation. Yep. Whatever's
collected. So that means that whatever's collected locally stays locally.
Yes. Yep.
Which is nice.
Yes.
I know that it's evolved over the years since y'all started this more than a decade ago now. Talk to me about how community competition has played a role in the event's success over the years.
Yeah, so our schools are really invested in Cram the Van. Our largest school competition actually takes place in Great Bend. So we just serve the city of Great Bend. So that's our largest, area that we serve. Um,
Yeah.
but last year we collected just under 12,000 pounds of food. We've collected much more than that in the past, but those school competitions have really, I mean, there is a lot of rivalry between the schools in each location. We've collected a lot of food through school competitions, so it's been good for us. We do give a cash prize for the winning school, so that's also an incentive, so
Oh.
they're able to purchase something that they're in need of, or, they have a pizza party. We do try to incentivize them, but the kids really, I mean, they get excited about it. It's exciting for us.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm starting to wonder if you're going to need a fleet of red branded vans as this event catches on and keeps growing.
Yep, absolutely.
So, a lot of us have fundraisers like this, not quite this large, but I'm wondering, just because we're talking about marketing, it's great that it works well in the community and everyone's caught on, but talk to me about how you manage the program internally. I mean, this is a huge effort. So, do you have a volunteer committee? Do you share milestones with staff to get your staff really engaged? Do you have special shirts for your staff? Anything to kind of get them excited about the event each year? How does that work?
So the program is run by the member services team. So myself, and then I have 4 other employees from Wheatland that are on the member services team. So we typically Cram the Van runs September and October. So
Okay.
we've been thinking about Cram the Van, Power the Pantry since the beginning of the year. It's really something that never leaves our mind. Especially over, last year was a little bit different because we changed the way we were doing things. But prior to, I mean, our goal was always to raise more than we had collected the year before. So we had a goal for ourselves, but we manage the program and run it. We do have a lot of employee support, board support.
Sure.
Obviously, these programs wouldn't be successful without the entire cooperative because it is a lot of work. We do provide shirts each year. We have a theme that it's different every year. So every year the shirts are different, but we really do try to get our employees excited about Cram the Van.
Yeah.
And, we've had a lot of success, and everybody realizes the importance of what we're doing. So I think that's an even bigger driving factor for us.
Nice. I mean, you're sharing the story internally as
Oh,
well. And
absolutely.
they're seeing the impact in your community. I'm a sucker for a good theme, Alli. What are some of the themes that y'all have used in the past?
So prior to COVID 2020, we were just Cram the Van. We had red shirts, white logo every year. We did the same thing. We went to locations across our service territory and hosted. Basically, we grilled hamburgers and hot dogs and accepted cash or can donations. In 2020, we changed the way we did things a little bit different. It was more of a drive-in. So we had like a drive-in movie theater theme. In 2021,
like that.
our theme was Yes, We Can. So we had a can.
I see
Yep.
what you did there.
Yes, we can. We had a lot of success that year. 2022 was Think Big, big energy, big ideas. So that was a fun one too. And then last year was Power the Pantry. So we kind of rebranded ourselves last year. I'm sure we'll talk about that more later, but Wheatland made a cash commitment. We really thought about why we were doing what we were doing. But the themes really just get people excited.
As themes tend to do. And
Yes.
you see how they work on me, and I didn't even know what they were, but I was like, ooh, themes, tell me more.
Yep.
I do want to talk about how the program has evolved over the years. And you've alluded to that a couple times now. It has been and continues to be Cram the Van, but now
Yes.
you're really focusing on, is it Power the Pantry?
Yep. Power the Pantry.
Okay.
Yep.
How has that changed?
So obviously last year was our 10th season of Cram the Van. So we wanted to make a big impact, and we have learned over the years lots of things. One of those things is that cash can go a long ways. When we're donating various, kind of random food items to the local pantry, obviously they're grateful, but they have specific needs. They have specific items that they, have requests from for their members. We give around Thanksgiving, so they do Thanksgiving baskets, Christmas baskets. So cash is really king. So Wheatland made a $50,000 commitment. So, and our goal last year was to double the impact. We fell just a little bit short, but we collected $90,785.
I feel a little bit short that you might be selling yourself short on that.
Yes. Yeah, we're excited.
That's huge.
Yeah. Yes. And the look on the faces when we delivered that cash check to those local food banks, you couldn't help but get emotional. They rely on those food donations, and obviously cash, they can do a lot more with that. So it was a great year.
Wonderful. And I have to say, congratulations.
Thank you.
Celebrating 10 years. It's huge. I don't know that folks who have not taken this deep dive on your website to see the impact of Cram the Van would realize this. But y'all have gotten 159 tons?
Yep.
Tons, 159 tons, y'all, of food donations.
Yes.
And then just last year alone, you said y'all raised almost $100,000.
Yep.
To donate. In addition, did you also have food that you donated or had folks donate?
The food was actually part of that total. So we've always done $1 equals a pound of food. So, some of that money or some of those canned items came from the Great Bend Schools competition. And then we also have a Co-ops Care charity golf tournament in September that all of the funds raised from that event are donated evenly. That money is distributed evenly across the dozen food banks that we serve. So there was a little bit of cash canned goods that came out of that $90,785. But the majority was cash.
Yeah. That's an amazing impact that you're having on your communities. So it sounds like you have a lot of community partners that you're working with as well. How do you coordinate the program with all of them? Deep breaths, Alli.
I said, we start planning for these events well in advance. So we have a good relationship with the schools, the food banks, everybody that we're partnering with in our community. So communication for us is key. And I think, we've done it for so long that everybody understands the importance and they're invested in the program as well. So, we've just built those relationships and we continue to build them, and we continue to collect more each year. So that's our goal.
So I love that this began as a way for Wheatland Electric to really focus on concern for community and how to live that cooperative principle, which is something that many of us try to find new ways to do that. And you really created this huge coordinated this huge community effort to help tell that part of your story. But as a storyteller myself, I geek out about the ways that you can tell this story. So how are you telling the story? Are you sharing profiles of people that are impacted by these donations? Are you highlighting the different community food banks, maybe some people running the competitions at the schools? How are you showcasing the story across all of your channels?
We have highlighted the local food banks. We have a good relationship, like I said, with them. So the directors of those food banks, typically they've been there for, a number of years, maybe some of them since the beginning, since we started doing Cram the Van. So we've done interviews with them. They've provided, lots of good feedback, and obviously the importance of the donations and the time of year that we do it. The food banks really rely on that food. So we've highlighted it in that way. Last year, obviously, the check presentations, they did not know how much they were getting when we came to do the delivery. So it was a surprise. So seeing the look on their faces and the volunteers, I said it was emotional. Tears were shed. It's a lot for, the local food bank here. In Scott City got just under $13,000 in cash. That can go a long ways for a community. So, the impact that way has been really fantastic for us. But, those stories resonate with people. I think everybody, suffers, they go through difficult times, and we really see our members supporting other members in need. So that's important to us as well.
Yeah, no, I love that. How does it tell your story? Though, I mean, we've talked about the way that you share the story, but what's the big takeaway that folks have from this about your utility?
That we're invested in the communities that we serve. I mean, we saw a need and we wanted to help make an impact, and we continue to do that year after year. I mean, it's not something that I ever see us not doing. But yeah, I mean, we're more than a utility. We're not just providing the lights and homes. We're invested in the communities that we serve, in our members.
And I love that it wraps up in Cooperative Month, right? Mm-hmm. October every year. It's a nice, like when you're figuring out these community fundraisers and efforts, tying it in. I'm assuming y'all do tie it in with National Cooperative Month and showcasing that. Yes,
absolutely. We talk about Cram the Van any opportunity that we get, but especially during October. So
yeah. All right, one last question before I let you go, because I could just keep you all day just talking about this and ways to do this. But what advice do you have for other folks that are trying to launch a community engagement program like Cram the Van, or maybe something else that meets their community need, but they're trying to launch a program to help tell their story?
I think it's important to look and see like what the needs really are. For us, 10 plus years ago, we saw that need. Nobody was really doing food drives, anything at that time. So I think it's important to, you don't want to do, not everybody needs to do a food drive, but find out what your community really needs, and then figure out how to build on that year after year. Get the community involved, get the schools involved. I mean, I think that's been part of our success too, is it's not just us, we've gotten the schools involved. We talked about the school competitions earlier. I mean, people are invested in this initiative, and I think that's why it continues to be successful year after year.
I love that. Get folks invested and identify your specific community needs.
Yep. And don't be afraid to, make a change. I mean, we'd been doing the same thing for 9+ years, and we really wanted to make a bigger impact, and we knew that cash was going to make that impact. So that's why Wheatland made the commitment. We committed $50,000, and we're doing that again in 2024. And hopefully we do double the impact this year. But, we've made adjustments, along the way. We saw what worked, what didn't. And, we just continue to build on that year after year. So, and it's important for us to keep our employees, our trustees involved. So, their support, we couldn't do that without any of them either. So.
Yeah, so you're telling your story to your staff, to your board, and to your entire community, and the community is helping tell your story with you, which is just fantastic. So
absolutely.
Again, we could keep talking about this for a while, but thank you so much for sharing your story with Utility Pioneers. I can't wait to see how Cram the Van grows this year, and
we're excited
on down the road. She is Alli Conine from Wheatland Electric, and I'm your host, Megan McCoyno at Pioneer Utility Resources. And until we talk again, keep telling your story.
Story Connect is produced by Pioneer Utility Resources, a communications cooperative that is built to share your story. Story Connect is engineered by Lucas Smith of Lucky Sound Studio.